Good morning. We may have a few more, and we do have a few more stragglers coming in, but as we do, they can just sit. But I don't know what time this is going to take. We'll have time at the end for questions and answers if you want to do it. I know I'm pushing up against lunch, so I did that intentionally. Here's the commissioner, so good. Because one of the things we were going to do this morning is going to have a few words from the commissioner. Would you like to come up here, Commissioner, and get this party started?
Yes, sir. I like folks to get started on time. I got sidetracked in the boardroom there for a minute, but thanks. I think all of you all know that from the time we got started with our reform and restructuring and everything here, that IT has been an integral part of that. We've known, and some of you remember, and probably involved in the work that AUM did, and we knew from that we had to have more resources to get this IT system up and going. We just got back from meeting with our southeastern counterparts in Atlanta, and that's one thing that everybody's talking about is the e-commerce, they call it, with all the fees and licensing and everything else that we can do with technology in this day and time. So we've known for a long time, and I'm not going back, we'll go back through the list, but just to remind you, we've had the things to deal with like cars and heating and cooling and roof and things like that we had to get by, because IT is good and as efficient and helpful as it is, it's not cheap. So finally we've gotten the resources to be able to really, we remember our IT folks, and I remember this when we first got here, there was a printer on everybody's desk, and these guys spent more time going around keeping printers operating, and we networked that and made some incremental steps, but now we're serious about getting into this and getting it done right, and we got the resources to make that happen. So that's where we are. And I know there'll be some discomfort and some, nobody here in this whole building or in this whole town probably is less technically inclined than I am, and most of you know that. But I do have sense enough to know the importance of it, and some of it won't be easy, and some of it will require some adjustments. But when it's all said and done, it's going to make life a lot easier for all of us, and enable us to do a better job of serving our customers, and that's the citizens of this state that we are here to serve. And this is going to be a way of doing that better. So I'm going to be sitting in on most of this today, and thank you all for jumping on this and getting it going, and we look forward to the transition, continued transition.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Commissioner, for that. Back in my slide. Today, I appreciate everybody showing up. This is and for lack of a better word, I've changed that title about 5 times, but it'll work. It's just some things that we as IT are going to be working on here going forward. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of other things that we're working with, and we're working to the side of, we're working in partnership with, that we may or may not be mentioning, or we may not mention much today. But if we don't think that we're not working on it. It's just that we don't have but a couple hours to talk about some of this stuff, and I do want to allow you guys time to ask questions specifically about our Office 365 implementation we're doing, and that's going to probably take most of the time. Right now, just to introduce myself, my name is Lane Sechrist. I've been with the state for, it seems like forever, 21 years or so. Originally from Union Springs, Alabama. Where I was born anyway. I spent most of my time in Auburn, Alabama. Lived in Montgomery for about 12 years. About 5 years ago, I moved back to Auburn. So I'm doing one of these road warriors that you see going up down the interstate all the time. I work with the Department of Industrial Relations, which is now the Department of Labor. So I've been in your shoes with as an agency division, the department, working with central IT departments. For about 11 years, I left from there and went to work at ISD. I was at ISD, so I was kind of the central IT authority. So we worked on a bigger scale, statewide initiatives and statewide networks, and working with departments and divisions and such. And I had the opportunity to come here, took it. Hope you guys realize what you have here. It's a special place. But anyway, that's my story. I just want to kind of put up there, put my name. There's my email address. It's easy to find inside our global address list. Also, there's my phone number, so it's in the directory. One of the funnier things I kind of want to mention, the commissioner mentioned all these initiatives we're doing, and sometimes change is scary, sometimes change is bad, sometimes change is good, and we try to make it more good than bad. We do have a lot of initiatives going on. We do have some things we want to work with you guys for bringing in licensing and fees and those types of things, but we've got a lot of work that we've got to do just to kind of start building up our infrastructure to create us this nice foundation where we can start building and start moving forward with that. Most of the initiatives we're going to talk to today are those types of things that we have coming up. It's the stuff to help AGI address some security issues. We may not think we have that much scary security stuff, but just simple social security numbers or just information that's maybe some inspection data, something to those effects. So there's some things we have to do in that area. There's things we have to do to make ourselves more efficiently in our office suite. There's some communication tools we can use, some collaboration between sections that can work together. We're trying to get ourselves in that position so we can start doing these things. And then we can start working on the big initiatives that we have going forward. Just a little bit of a humorous thing here to kind of start things up. I kind of want to start this little video so you guys can go to sleep on me. But just to show you that IT and change is not a new thing. It's kind of dark.
Hi. Oh, hi. Thanks for coming up there. Thank you for coming. You want to look? Thank you. I have a thought. You know where you started? Could you give me your cardinal number? My cardinal number? Yes. My cardinal number is 1932305. I have your name. My name is Christian Jonas. Christian Jonas. Jonas. M-J-A-N-E-S. I have a problem. What issue have you? Well, it's just been lying there all day. I haven't been able to do any work this morning. I can't get into it. Well, have you tried to get it open? Well, open it? I mean, if it was that simple, I wouldn't have to go help it, now would I? Well, let's have another way here. All you need to do is and you're here, and then you open it like that. Yeah, I got this problem. Okay, but then I was afraid that I would lose any of this text, so I didn't dare too long. Right. I don't. So that's my problem. In here, you see, there are several hundred pages of text, and if you want to get to the next page, you just take a piece of paper here, and then you page like that. I page. and I haven't seen anything. That's right. Okay. I really like it. But you know, it takes a while because, you know, when you're used to these scrolls, and then you have to get used to, you know, page and then root. It really takes some time. But I like it. I like it. I'll train you. All right, I'll do that. Thanks a lot. See you later. I'll be over there. You know, fine.
Anyway, it goes on from there, but he has trouble with his book, and he likes his scroll better, and it's pretty funny. So just want to let you guys know that even from medieval times, apparently when they got that video, which I'm not sure how they got, they have been doing these types of things for changes. So with that, I'd like to introduce, here's our agenda today, just so you'll know. That's my introduction. The commissioner's already spoken. We're going to do an Office 365 presentation and a demo. We are privileged today to have Jason Batchelor. He's an architect and VP of marketing, sales, whatever he can tell you what his title is, but a company named Summit 7 Systems out of Huntsville. Summit 7 has been working a lot with the state and a lot with the agencies on different IT initiatives. Some of them have been SharePoint, which he'll talk a little bit about. Also been working with the state's IT to implement Office 365 across the state. So he has a unique perspective as to not only what they've been doing working with the state to do this, but also he has kind of some Office 365 overview slides, and we can talk about the different components of it and how AGI can take advantage of that. After Jason speaks, I'll come back up. We'll speak a little bit more about some specifics, and then we'll have some of my staff come up and talk about some of the other initiatives that we have going on. So without that, let's go ahead and swap this over.
Before you get there, let's get up and move up here. Sorry to do that to you, but this is too hard to take it back here.
I got to be here so I can bail out.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Somebody just told me, you know, that's not the way we do it in church. And I said, we see in church. This is some hard stuff. We need to tune in.
Can everybody hear me okay? Is that good? Okay. Yeah, so I was a military brat, and all of my family is from here in Alabama. So it's funny when he asked everybody to move up to the front, because everywhere that we would go, my family was Southern Baptist, and everywhere we went, my dad said, "Boy, you sit in the back." It's like, "Oh, why?" He said, "I don't know. That's just what we do." So when I came here, and I thought he was just kidding, right? Because I was born in Arizona, then I lived in the Philippines, Florida, Kansas, California, and then back home to Alabama. So when we got here and we walked in, I thought, man, he's not kidding. And what I figured it out was that they do that because it makes all the new people sit up front. So that way it was more easily to identify them. So anyway, so real quick, my name's Jason Batchelor. I'm not going to go into too many details to who I am, but I'll get through one of those slides here in a minute. But you know, it was interesting because Lane talked about change, and there's a 3-letter word that I picked up when I joined Summit 7 that really summarizes it, and they called it FUD. It's F-U-D, and it was fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Can never say the uncertainty right. I don't know why. But it came up when I'm watching that video. I thought that's exactly what it felt like when I bought my mom her first iPad about 6 months ago. And I'm not going to tell you how old she is or how young she is, because it's a lose-lose. Because if I tell you, then somebody's going to say, "Wow, she's young," and other people will say, "Wow, she's old." So we won't go into that. But it was very similar. All right, it was a very similar circumstance, and the same thing's going to happen here. So what I'm hoping to do is to give you enough of the information or overview about the technologies you guys are going to have available to you over time, So that way you can see some of the things working, what the intention is, and capabilities and those kinds of things. So let me go ahead and kickstart the presentation real quick. So I joined Summit 7 Systems about four and a half years ago. Prior to that, I worked for a company called DRS Technologies that was eventually purchased by Finmechanica. We're based out of Huntsville, so I worked for a defense contractor. And that last stint, I was flying back and forth to Parsippany every 3 weeks. And I'll tell you, there's nothing like coming back home after you've been in New Jersey for about a week. And it was 8 a.m. till 3 a.m., 5-6 nights in a row. So I've been working with SharePoint online, on premises, forums.